do is zoom, 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 and a boom, boom. All I wanna do is zoom, 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 and a boom.
Not enough to actually but
So did you like my jam, my rum shaker?
so it's man.
Isn't that old?
Way
old
back,
school?
going way back. All right, so just kind of a random thought before we get into it, man. What is this week?
Week 4 now.
Going into week 4. I was talking to my dad about fantasy football, and he was saying that it was. I should, right?
Right?
He was saying 1989 was whenever was one of the first drafts that I went to with him at one of his buddy's old stores, and he used to do everything by hand. His name was Mark Brandon. He would do everything everything was by hand. Monday mornings he'd get the newspaper, and that's how he would do the yards per player, and he would add it up, and then he would send it out to people, and everybody would.
Like, how would you send it out, by mail?
Yeah, he would.
That is fucking
and then
nuts.
he would, it could have been right around when email was around, so he'd send an email type of thing, something.
Well, not 1989.
I don't know, man. I was 6. But anyway, and so he said, he was kind of saying that then each person had to go and would go verify their stats to make sure, to kind of double check.
Like with the...
Yeah, because it's not like, we can't just go off,
because
who's right.
It wasn't... It was like Express News. What was it? Like
what was the one before?
Remember how there was like 2 or 3 papers going?
Yeah.
There was like Express News and then
else.
San Antonio...
Was it The Light?
The Light, yeah. Or
San Antonio Light?
San Antonio Light.
That sounds right. I don't remember.
It was
I remember when it ended. My parents have like 4 copies of the last issue for some reason,
and they had like every paper like laminated.
Yeah,
that one 30-page paper turned out to be
it's now been
encyclopedias.
31 years of me playing fantasy football, and I still don't know what I'm doing. So,
it's exciting, right? Well, I mean, because it's not you, it's me. No, I'm just kidding. No, I'm saying it's like you gotta. It's all about the players.
I know.
You know what I mean? It's all about risk and who do you think is going to have a bigger upside, and that's why I think it's fun. And then that's why I also hate fantasy football.
Yeah,
because like it never turns out the way I plan.
I do really like Tuesdays because we film. We record the podcast because obviously Monday we have football. Tuesdays we do the podcast. Wednesday's the only day I have to really prepare my lineups, and then pretty much from then on you have some sort of football. You either have NFL or college. So
yeah, well, a nice little break. You watch it on Saturdays?
College?
Yeah,
I watch some enough to get me by. I watch the big games.
Okay, so are you big on the Baker Mayfield? I know we're getting off topic, but whatever.
Yeah, I think he's good, man. Except he's kind of crazy.
Right? Isn't he kind of like a
jackass?
But he's funny.
Yeah,
like it makes me laugh. I like guys like that.
I hate Oklahoma, but I kind of like him.
But I like guys that can back it up, not guys that are just assholes and just
But
complain about it. Like if nothing works out, it's because they got fouled or there was holding or something. It's someone else.
He says whatever the hell he wants to say.
Yeah, that's awesome.
All right, man. So this week, I got a theme for this week.
What is it?
Parody.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
The NFL is all about parody, and I got a couple at the end. In our end, we don't really have a garbage time set up, but
a couple little theories. Did.
Oh yeah, we talked about it.
I talked about one.
Okay.
I'll bring it up later.
But yeah, parody, man. It's like going into the pick'em this week. My own pick'em. I looked and I was like 4 teams when I was looking. And I'm like, there's no way these 4 teams are going to start 0-3, and it was the Giants, the Bengals, the Saints, and somebody else good that actually won. Somebody else that had an upset. And sure enough,
the Chargers.
No, the Chargers lost because
you're saying who?
Yeah, one of the teams ended up winning. I'm just like, these teams are too decent to start 0-3.
They're not good, but
no, exactly. So the Saints got their upset, and then somebody else got an upset, and I was just like, man, that's just the NFL. There's like there's no team where you're just like,
there's people can just kick a 61-yard field goal.
Oh shit, man!
And what did I tell you?
Oh shit!
It's just funny to me. And then I saw a Twitter today that Carson Wentz was mic'd up whenever they were going to kick it, and he said, "Man, if this guy makes it, I'm giving him my whole game check." And then one of the guys on the side that he was telling that to, he was like, "Oh shit!" And then he goes, "Yep, I'm gonna do it." And then he kicked it, and then So now he owes him like $97,000 or something like that.
Yeah, nice.
So I think
it's before his big. If he was already making whatever $25 million a year, he wouldn't do that.
No.
He'd be like, I'm going to give you my quarter check.
My 1.6.
Yeah,
it's 1.6 million.
Is what his salary is.
Spread out through 17 games.
So
or 17 weeks.
So less than 100,000.
97,000.
Yeah, that's really close. Yeah. Oh, I guess did you actually do the math?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you just made up a number. I'm like, that's cool. Like 97,000.
But I thought that was pretty funny. That was, but you know what? I was excited about that. Yeah, I mean, just like I told you, I don't like the kickers or having to rely on kickers. But just seeing something like that,
that's legit.
Yeah, and if it's like a 30-yard field goal,
exactly,
that pisses me off.
Yeah,
because like
even the end of the Green Bay game, once they get that long in the overtime, Green Bay or Allison, who was one of my kind of dark sleepers for the week,
your dark horse,
he had that really long catch. And then it's like, then you just move it to the middle and kick a field goal. It's like, I wish you kind of had to, you were like forced to.
You had to run those 4 plays.
Yeah. I hated that.
Yeah, it's dumb.
Like, okay, game's over. They're inside the 20. That's it.
Exactly. I don't like that. But that's what I took. That's one. The other takeaway that I had was that Houston game. I know when we were ending the last week's episode, you know, we picked New England, but deep down inside, I wanted Houston to win. You wanted Houston. I mean, you're a Houston fan.
Yeah, definitely.
And I wanted them to win. And I was cheering up and down. I was jumping up and down on my couch, like Tom Cruise style. I was pretty excited. And then there was like some controversy or something with the way Brandon Cooks caught.
Oh, that last one?
Yeah, like they're saying that since he was going down, he didn't have the ball lost control a little bit, and it should have counted. But whatever. I mean, you're playing at New England. They needed that win. I mean, it was a good throw, great catch.
Yeah, so. You don't want to give Brady extra time, and unfortunately, he did what he does. He's good. What else? Other takeaways that I had. I think you got to kind of calm down on the stud wide receivers. People are going to start flipping out. I know it's been 3 weeks, so after this coming week, they'll have played a fourth of their games. But
are you talking about Julio Jones?
Julio Jones, even Amari Cooper. People are going to be real scared about him because he has been really bad. I'll talk about that later too. But it's just Amari Cooper's always been known. He'll have a game where he gets 200 yards and 3 touchdowns, but then he's going to have a game where he has 3 catches for 22. It's just that's who he is. People that were expecting 120 yards a game were being unrealistic.
Yeah.
And then Tariq Cohen, man, I actually watched part of him play. The dude, he is a football player. He is legit. I'm actually really happy that Jordan Howard's healthy and got carries and scored those touchdowns.
Why? Because you don't have I don't have
Tariq Cohen. No, I don't. No, I don't. I'm not playing against him. But I just don't have him. And somebody that just picked him up off the waiver wire, I don't want. It's almost like getting a second round pick, man. Like he's that good. Where if Jordan Howard was out,
plus he gets a lot of work too.
He gets a lot of work. He's their best. He is their best receiver. He's running back. He's their best receiver, pretty much. Yeah, and so he was another one that I kind of looked at, and I was, if I was able to trade for him, I would. I might. The guy in our league that has him is in first place. I can't think of who it is right now. The only 3-0 team.
Yeah. So who would you trade for? Because that same player, that same person in our league also has Kareem Hunt.
I know, exactly. So you don't want him to be completely stacked. Exactly. Well, that's just the thing. It'd be someone that, because he actually has Jordan Howard, so I think he originally picked up Cohen as
just a handcuff?
A handcuff, which, and a high upside handcuff, which is what he turned out to be. But the good thing is, with him having Jordan Howard, he's never going to play them both, so he's going to pick one or the other, and we just got to hope the other one's the one that has a good game. But I mean, I could see him getting another.
Who do you think that
starting running back
you can trade for someone like a Tariq Cohen, like someone that, I mean, they're not going to accept maybe another running back, but maybe a combo with a running back and a wide receiver.
Sure,
but
even a wide receiver too.
How high of a wide receiver would you go on a Tariq Cohen?
Now, if I had Cohen, I would hold out for a pretty large haul.
Which would be. Would you like Julio Jones?
Nah, you're never going to get that for him. But that. I don't know.
The Des Bryant, perhaps.
Yeah, that type of player, a guy that's going to score 8 to 10 points for sure.
AJ Green.
Oh, I'd love to get AJ Green. I think he's going to go off. But yeah, that type of player. I mean, it's so tough to value a guy that isn't for sure number one back. Now, for me, again, if I had him, I would keep him. I wouldn't want to trade him unless somebody offered me something crazy. But I'd be willing. I mean, I would be willing to give up Michael Crabtree for him. I would be willing to give up Doug Baldwin. I'd probably be willing to give up for him. I mean, so pretty much, I wouldn't give up Antonio Brown. That's about it. But I have Carlos Hyde and Todd Gurley in that league. I wouldn't do Gurley straight up for him, but I actually would be really close right now to do Carlos Hyde for him straight up. Really? Even though Hyde's the number one back, he's going to get all the carries. But Cohen, if Howard were to go out,
usually I wasn't a big fan with him coming in a few seasons ago. I was like, he's okay. I mean, he's just playing on a shitty team.
He is. And he's not that great of a running back, really.
He's not. But then whenever you see him running, he makes those good runs. I mean, he's starting to, I guess, study.
Yeah, he definitely looks more like a professional running back than he did in the past.
Yeah, because before it looked like he was just trying to make plays happen when that's not the way NFL works. You got to run the play that it's being called 90% of the time, 95% of the time. But yeah, Tariq Cohen is a good dude. Kareem Hunt. Could you get him?
If I were to start the draft over today, going forward from week 4 on, so we know David Johnson's out, and you don't get the points for the first 3 weeks. So Todd Gurley, you're not getting all those crazy touchdowns that he has, because I think Todd Gurley is the number 1 ranked running back right now with Kareem Hunt. They're right next to each other. I think Kareem Hunt would be the second running back that I took. I think I would take him in front of Zeke. I wouldn't take him in front of Le'Veon Bell still.
You still think Le'Veon Bell is going to...
Le'Veon Bell's been too good for too long, and he's healthy, and they've played 2 games on the road and 1 at home, and they're just so much better offensively at home. So when they gets right, they get a couple of games at home in a row, they'll be back to where they were. And so yeah, if I had Kareem Hunt and somebody was willing to trade me Le'Veon Bell for him, I would do it in a heartbeat.
No one's going to do
but
that.
Nobody's going to do it.
No one's...
Honestly, if I had Zeke, though, if I had Zeke, I would be willing to trade him for Le'Veon Bell. If somebody, especially, we live in Texas, so we have a lot of people that are Cowboy fans.
Yeah.
Actually, our league, we really don't. But
it's really just me.
You see a lot of Zeke here. You see him all the time, so it's easier to kind of
but then again,
see his production.
But if you're going to try to swap players or trade players, that seems kind of like an even swamp, don't you?
Sure.
Think?
Yeah. I feel like Le'Veon Bell's going to have more kind of like what he's done. He'll have a game where he's going to score 25 fantasy points, and then he'll have a game where he scores 8 or whatever. Yeah, 10 or 12. I think Zeke's pretty consistently going to get 80 yards at the least to 150 yards.
Points.
And exactly. Most likely a touchdown. He might get 2 here and there. They're just not that as explosive in an offense, to where they're going to score. They don't need to, where they're going to score. The Steelers are going to be a team that just scores 6 touchdowns in a quarter somehow, just goes absolutely nuts. But no, you're right. Even trades are harder. But I don't mind doing it if I find somebody that looks like they have some good matchups coming up.
That's what you got to look at, right? The middle of the season, or if you're playoff down, like me and my league, I'm 1-2. In another one, I'm 0-3, but another one, I'm 3-0.
Yeah.
So I'm top dogging now, and it's just...
Yeah, it's tough. It all depends on what your team needs. Yeah, if you're shooting for if you need to win games now, you got to be a lot more careful. If you're looking to win in the playoff time, you can kind of be a little bit more risky.
Is right now the time, in week 4, to start just dumping your players and try to reset, or you're saying just hold off? At least another week.
I'm still hesitant on a lot of players. I think you really start to see what's happening with running backs. I think the picture is kind of clearing itself up. So some guys, I'm absolutely terrified as a Lamar Miller owner that it's going to get to a 50-50 share pretty soon with Foreman, and he'll have games where he scores 12 points, but he'll have games where he scores 6 points.
I'm not a fan. I can't be a fan of Lamar Miller. I like him as a player, but as far as a fantasy production, I can't.
But a lot of players like that who were supposed to be, they're the primary backs are kind of losing it. But that's part of my at the end, I have a theory that I'm gonna get into. About running backs.
Yeah. I'm
That's
excited.
pretty cool. So let's get into some injuries, man. What do we got?
What the injuries was a crazy freak one was the Darren Sproles. I mean, I'm not laughing at him. It's just a
it's
freak.
terrible,
it's
man.
like, how do you do that? I guess because he was trying to make a cut, or no, he got cut by somebody, and so I guess his foot got stuck in the dirt, so he tore his ACL. And then when he flew up in the air, the way he fell, he landed awkwardly and ended up breaking his arm.
Broke his arm.
Like,
yeah.
At that point, you just like, where do you like reach for?
Yeah.
You're just all in pain.
Hopefully it's all on one side. So
I didn't see the one part. No, I think it's like
opposite,
left
right?
and
I
then
think
a
it
right.
is. Oh,
because like if you trip like that and then you're gonna fall.
That sucks.
Yeah, I think he's feeling his dominant hand probably, so it had to have been his left and right. But I didn't see. I guess the plays after, so I didn't see if he walked off or they carted him off or whatever.
I didn't see either. I didn't.
But yeah, supposedly a big guy to pick up after that is his backup.
Yeah, Smallwood.
Smallwood pick him up.
Yeah.
Another injury. I don't know if it's really a big deal. Doug Baldwin.
It scares me, man.
But yeah,
Not counting on
Doug
him.
because he's really the kind of, I don't want to say dependable, because I mean he's the only dependable one in Seattle as far as a receiver, or just as a player.
Doug Baldwin's gonna get his.
Yeah, he's gonna eat. You know what I mean?
Even if, and the thing is, when he's out, it's like there was that Richardson guy. Is that where he's at that they're talking about?
P. Richardson,
maybe,
right?
Yeah. And then Tyler Lockett, but it's like you don't know which one of those is gonna be good. It's just
I saw Tyler Lockett down there on the availability,
yeah,
and I was like contemplating, but no, I pumped the brakes on that one pretty quickly, and I don't take any. You also have to have this intuition about players and their teams. Like, I can't pick anybody really from San Francisco. Just not that I don't like the team. I think what they're doing is rebuilding is great, but fantasy, I can't do it.
Yeah.
The same thing with Jacksonville. I know Leonard Fournette's a beast, and crazy enough, this past weekend, it played in London. Everybody went off in that game, but that's one game, and I can't ride those.
I don't even know what to think about that game.
Yeah, I can't ride those trains. Another injury is Tyler Eifert.
That's no surprise there.
That's no surprise.
You drafted him thinking you were going to get him all season long. You didn't.
I drafted him, but I also had picked up Kyle Rudolph.
A couple rounds later, probably.
No,
2 rounds later.
I think I got Kyle Rudolph first.
Yeah.
First, and then.
But that's the thing. It's like he's a super talented guy, but he's never going to stay
when
healthy.
He plays. I mean, he's going to be out for, I said, multiple weeks.
I know that could be.
And he was already out this past game, and then I think he's played one game and he got a catch and a half.
But I do like the upside of Joe Mixon, man. I'm telling you. I was big on him last week. I'm big on him now. I'm telling you, he's
the new coordinator, and that's what they were saying. Like, now that there's a new offensive coordinator, that you can kind of just not tell him anything, but you're like, hey, I know you're new here, but my name's AJ Green. I know you've seen me before.
You see those stats from the past few years? That's me.
That's me all the time. But these guys can't get me the ball. And then they said, which is comforting for Mixon owners, is that they said, yes, they're going to go with the hot hand, but they're going to more like self-consciously give it to Mixon, because
they're gonna force
he is the future.
Yeah.
They called him,
he's a stud,
they called him the future, so he's going to get the ball. So the people that held out those 3 weeks.
Yeah. And this past week, I think he got me like 11, fantasy points. He had a decent game in a PPR, of course, not in a standard league. But so I was, happy with that. Then we got, Luck is going to be practicing this week.
He said, is it official now?
I think he'll practice this week. He's not going to. I think he'll play week 6.
Week 6.
So 4 or 5 he'll practice.
So what do you think they're going to do with Brissett? They're off. All right, dude. See you later.
Well, that's kind of the weird thing. I think that the better Brissett plays, they just delay it a little bit longer. They want him to do well. Because the thing is, the division isn't that great. I mean, if they start off 3,
I see what you're saying. So that way,
if they start off 2 and 4, it's like you still have a chance. You know, you go. You.
That's what they're saying.
Go 8-8 and you have a chance.
And the same thing in the NFC West, right? With the, with Cardinals and Seattle.
Yeah, you just gotta.
They're decent. Who's leading? Is it
Seattle's 1-2?
The Rams are then.
Yeah, that's exactly right. The Rams are leading at 2-1.
So, I mean, that's still a very young team, you know, coaching and players. So
yeah, and that's with the 49ers at 0-3.
Yeah, so and they still have a chance.
They really do. I mean, honestly,
they technically do. They have
I had Derek Carr, which obviously in a second I'm going to talk about those tops and bottoms from the week, and he was awful this week. And so I was going to pick up a backup actual quarterback for now to stream, but instead I just picked up Andrew Luck. And I'm just going to play Carr for the next few weeks. Hopefully he gets by and does well enough. And then after that point, if Luck is good to go, cool. If not, I mean, I think Derek Carr is good enough that I could play him all year long. But if he has games like this past week, man.
But he has scary moments. Like
that was bad.
Like that.
That was ugly. And I think a lot of it's because they don't have a running game. Marshawn Lynch isn't a feature back on a,
and he's older. Offense. I mean, he's awesome.
If you want 2 yards, you give it to him and he's going to get it. But if you want someone that's going to get 28 carries for 160 yards, have a really huge game, that's just not him. You know, he's not going to do it. So
don't they have that rookie running back? Don't they have a?
It seems like everybody has a good rookie running back. There's 12 of them, man.
Yeah, I guess you're right. But I could have sworn that I thought they had one to where they leaned on him more. Anyway, but yeah, you're right. And then Melvin Gordon scared me.
Yeah.
But he said he's fine.
He's fine, man.
He said he came off the field for a little bit. He said he wanted to get back on there. They said no. He wanted to keep getting. So he's fine. So nothing to worry about there. What do you make of the Julio Jones?
You never want to have a back injury. That's just not a good injury to have. But until I see him not play, it's like he's still Julio. He's still Julio. I mean,
I was actually thinking about trading him.
Yeah, I mean, this is definitely a time to trade high, and he's still Julio Jones.
Everybody's gonna be like, but then you start looking at those last 6 or 7 games, and man, they
have good matchups in.
It
seems like right now, every week they play somebody good. Right now,
now,
and it's like, yeah.
But what I'm thinking is that I can get someone to offset. Like I can get a solid receiver and the top-notch running back for Julio Jones.
Yeah.
I would think too.
Like a starting running back and
someone that can start all the time and
like a number 2 receiver.
Instead of having I don't know, like because who do I have in that? I have a Jay Ajayi, but I can also get like someone like a McCaffrey or maybe even a Mixon,
a Joe Mixon type player,
or a Mixon, something like that, or a Crabtree. You know what I mean? So something like that.
Yeah.
But which I think I would be able to do that. But that would have to be like someone would have to have those 2 players. Obviously.
Sure. Yeah.
But those
I think you'll find. I bet every
players.
team has some sort of combo like that you'd be willing to go for. Now it's kind of one of those things where you're probably going to have to find a team that's a little deeper, that's willing to trade 2 of their better players for 1 stud. And the scary thing about that is if the rest of that guy's team stays healthy, that 1 stud can make them. And if Julio is as good as he could be,
Julio's going to be Julio.
Yeah,
but I still need to make my team.
You got to make yourself to get to playoffs, man. That's all you got to worry about, getting to the playoffs.
That's it. And then after that, it's like it's a crapshoot.
Who's going to play good these few weeks?
Exactly.
Bridgewater, man. I hope he comes back. I was a big fan of him.
I'm tired of waiting on Sam Bradford.
Yeah, I was just a big fan of Bridgewater. I was kind of a Viking fan growing up. So I always kind of look at what they're doing and how they are.
Why were you a Viking fan?
My uncle was the uncle that I pretty much was my second dad. He was a huge Viking fan, so I'd always watch games with him. And so I always kind of watched what they were doing. And last year I really thought that was their year, man. I thought they could really go far. And then in that preseason, wasn't even before a preseason game, right?
Yeah,
just in practice.
And then he got tore up.
Yeah, that's disgusting.
Poor guy.
Matt Forte.
They said it's minor.
Yeah.
But he did leave.
He left. And, man, Powell's just a free agent, man. He's the type of guy that if you have an injured running back,
I actually drafted him in 2 of my
I would have too. I had him in the same spot as I had a couple of other guys that have just gone off.
I was trying to get sleeper guys, not sleepers, but guys that are going to be workhorses, like the Danny Woodhead, Isaiah Crowell, Powell, Terrence West, like those guys that they're not big names, but
they get the ball.
They'll get you those 9, 10, 11 points, like solid numbers. So,
and then some other before we get to some tops and bottom plays, Kelvin Benjamin, man, I think he's not gonna play this week. Seems like, and I think it helps McCaffrey, but I think
McCaffrey owners are fine.
Yeah.
Plus, they're playing against the Patriots.
Yeah,
who's not?
They've been giving up a lot of points.
That great on the ground or in the air.
But man, that team look bad. The
Panthers
bad. Yeah,
Panthers are terrible.
They were ugly.
So are you going to get into Cam Newton?
Yeah. So Cam Newton looked absolutely awful. So I have kind of the top plays and the bottom plays this week. So for quarterbacks, top plays were Tom Brady and Russell Wilson. Though they just both went off. Russell Wilson was surprised. Tom Brady going off. You're never truly surprised about it. Dak Prescott had a great game all around. It's kind of weird because when you watch him play and you see that he just kind of controls the game, at the end you're just like, man, he had to have had an amazing game. And he won't have the same numbers as a Tom Brady because he didn't just go and throw it so much, but he still had a very productive game.
Well, it's because I think he ran it in. He scored that.
Yeah, that helped a lot. That was
an awesome flip.
Yeah.
And then after the game, he said something about he's just glad he didn't do a helicopter.
Oh, yeah.
Which I guess a lot of people get. The famous helicopter I remember is that, didn't John Elway do that?
Yeah,
during
at
Super
the goal line.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That was pretty nasty.
But all three of them were up there in the top. Brady and Wilson were top 2, and I think Prescott was like number 6 or 7 fantasy quarterback this week. But I was impressed by it. The bottom 2, which we're going to both be happy about this, were Derek Carr, who I have. He was.
And did you start? You started him.
I started him. Yeah. Going into Monday night, I needed to outscore Terrell Pryor. I believe that's who he had. I had Michael Crabtree, Derek Carr. I needed to outscore Terrell Pryor by, I think, 8 points.
Oh, so with Crabtree and Derek Carr, you couldn't do it?
And I lost. It was bad. But anyways,
you could have been
Carr
undefeated,
was
man.
I should be undefeated. It shouldn't even have been close.
I should have been undefeated too if I didn't play the other
crappy players.
Yeah.
And then Cam Newton was just awful as well. They just don't look good. They were both outside the top 25 fantasy quarterbacks.
So what do I do about Cam Newton? Just dump him?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because I was high on him last week. Like I was telling you when you got here, I did all my research. Oh, I was telling you even last week. I did all my research. I did the last 3 years that he's played the Saints. The only 2 bad games that he had was at least 14 points that he played against them. And he's never had 2 back-to-back bad games against them. Doesn't matter if it was going in from year 13, 14, 15, 16. You know what I mean? Going into different years. He's just never had bad back-to-back games. And they're the worst as far as protecting the passing defense. So I just thought they were going to go off. And
it's time, man. There's so many quarterbacks that are out there that you can.
So do you think he's on the outs? Or, I
I've listened
outside of fantasy.
I've listened to people saying they would rather Derek Anderson be the quarterback for the team.
Really?
Yeah, because Derek Anderson can actually throw the ball.
He can throw the ball. Yeah.
And
then they don't want him to run. They don't want Cam Newton to run anyway.
Apparently he's still banged up. He's not fully healthy, and they don't want him to run. Well, it's like that's what made him so good. He'd get 60 yards rushing,
and he can't hit a target.
he can't. So I think he's out there, man. So with running backs, the top 3 running backs this week were Todd Gurley, Kareem Hunt, and Chris Thompson. Did you watch him Sunday night?
He's awesome.
He is freaking good, man. I was impressed.
I have him.
He just looks like a good football player.
I did not start him.
No, that's understandable, and I think it helps the fact that P. Ryan got hurt. I don't know how hurt he is.
Are you starting Chris Thompson from here on out, or
I would start him. Who are they playing this week? I'd have to look up who they're playing this week. Oh, they're playing against KC on Monday. I don't know. Maybe depends on my options. He's definitely a good flex option. hopefully he's not one of my top 2 running backs. Like hopefully he's my flex.
Yeah, no, he's a third or a fourth running back.
Then definitely there's a good chance that would be who I'd play. Just because of his upside, he catches the ball, he runs it. He reminds me of a young Darren Sproles. He really does. He does everything.
Just a little bit taller?
Maybe, yeah. Not quite as a midget. The worst running backs this week, not overall, just ones that people actually own in our league, were Gillisley, that's what's going to happen with him. Next week, he'll probably have 2 touchdowns.
Probably even 3.
Or 4.
I'm going to say 3. I'm going to say 3.
But then he's going to have games like that. Marshawn Lynch, I don't like him. I mean, he's a...
Yeah, he was there. He was there in all the leagues, and I was like, no.
I'm not going to draft him.
I'm okay.
I'm not going to draft him.
He could have been there at 11 or 12. I would have been like, I'm okay.
And the most surprising, the one that was seriously the highest owned in daily fantasy this week was Jay because of the matchup that he had.
This was the first week that I ever played daily fantasy or DraftKings. It was the first week I ever played. I set up my account. I got it there on...
Did you draft Jay?
Yeah.
Oh, he was like the guy to play, man. Because of what he cost and what his production was supposed to be.
Against
what did
the
he have?
Jets and everything.
He had like 4 fantasy points?
I think it was 2.8.
Yeah.
It's or something like that. Or, it might have been more on... I think it was like 4 points because it's a full point.
Full point PPR.
Yeah. And on mine, the time that I have him in my standard...
It's a half point.
It's a half point, so it gave me like 2.8.
He was the most surprising by far. But... nobody's going to be dumb enough, and obviously you have him in our league, so it wouldn't work. But if someone was willing to sell him low, I would buy him in a heartbeat. I still think
I would not sell him low anyway.
Yeah.
That would be maybe I can try to get Kareem Hunt with that guy. No.
Whoever has Kareem Hunt won't give up Kareem Hunt for anybody. They wouldn't do it for Le'Veon Bell. Owners get attached to their players. You know what I mean? Like I have Todd Gurley, who's the number 2, if not 1, running back right now for the season, and I'd trade him in a heartbeat. Like I'm not like attached to anybody that I have, but people get so attached.
Weird. Like I get attached like hardcore.
Yeah, no. Like
I want to go buy their jersey.
Now, usually with quarterbacks, I do. That's how I root for a team. I usually pick the quarterback. But with the other players, I'm just. And especially with how much I've researched and stuff this year, and look at matchups and look at
Yeah, I've done more research, like this 4 weeks than I've done in the past.
Yeah, I probably have too. But yeah, Ajayi is going to be fine. And Hunt's pretty much untouchable. I don't care what people offered him. I offered somebody a trade. I can't remember what it was. If it comes back to me, I'll talk about it. And the wide receivers, our top 3 this week were Stephon Diggs, T.Y. Hilton, and
2 guys without starting quarterbacks.
Brandon Cooks, which you knew he was going to have a breakout game sooner or later.
Supposed to have it game 1.
He was a first round draft pick.
2.
You know what I mean? Like, I really think we're at a point, man. And last week I wasn't quite there, and we didn't. And the question we got was about Thielen. So I hope whoever it was, I hope they started Thielen. We said if Bradford wasn't going to play, don't start him. But
yes, but at the same time, if you look at it. I was trying to, every time I was watching, I'm a Cowboys fan, but I wanted them to at least throw the ball to Nelson every time.
Oh, so yeah. Because Nelson was the other one, right?
Yeah.
He was lower than any of these receivers I'm going to talk about. I just didn't write him down because he's not as high owned as some of the other ones.
The question was asked was if it was Thielen or J.J. Nelson.
And I still think Nelson's the smarter play without Bradford.
It really is.
It is.
And then Carson Palmer missed him on 3 touchdown passes.
Yeah.
So we would have looked like geniuses. Basically.
I agree.
I mean, I still feel like
everything changes every week. That you ask us that same question today. I don't care who's the quarterback for Minnesota this next week. I always pick Thielen. I really think at this point, I think Diggs and Thielen are both matchup proof. Meaning, not that they're going to be amazing every week or that they're number 1, but I think you play either one of those guys. You play them every week right now.
Which is what I'm doing in mine.
You have to. I really think you do.
I have Thielen. Well, if it makes this person feel any better that asked a question about the Thielen and the Nelson, I didn't start Thielen.
Yeah.
And I started...
I only started Diggs in my league that I have Diggs because I have no other options.
Yeah, that's why I texted you. I was like, how the hell did you do that?
Yeah.
You're like, well...
Who did you want me to put in there?
I didn't have anybody.
You want me to put in Doug Martin?
I had Brandon Marshall. And
I'm going to play my suspended running back instead. And then
Oh, you
worst
played him as a flex play?
Yeah, he was my flex
that's
play.
awesome.
Yeah. My worst receivers for the week were Amari Cooper with Terrell Pryor, which for both of those guys, Terrell Pryor's not as good as people thought. I have him.
I
and I'm
think
sad
he's
about
still
it.
going to be good.
He's
like, I'll take him from you.
No. He's just not a good receiver. He's a super duper athlete, so he's going to get open and he's going to make plays, but he's not like going to run the perfect route, and he's not going to do things that Antonio Brown would do and things like that. You know,
you're like, just scramble.
Exactly. Yeah,
if you're a good scrambler.
Yeah, and he drops passes. So is Amari Cooper. Amari Cooper doesn't know how to catch again. 2 years ago as a rookie, he drops more passes than anybody in the NFL. I think last year he fixed it somehow. And this year, he already has like 6 drops in 3 weeks.
Have you ever seen that movie, Little Giants?
Yeah, he needs it's the sticky hands. Damn it, it's the sticky hands. And then I wrote down, I couldn't find another receiver that did horrible, but Tyrell Williams from the Chargers. I swear, Phillip Rivers loves throwing him the ball for whatever reason. I don't care if he's triple covered. They're like, yep, let's throw the ball to Tyrell
Williams. He never catches it.
And he doesn't catch it.
He can't catch it.
Yeah.
I don't know. And then, I mean, he's good, and I drafted him, but I also just dropped him because
he's definitely a guy you can get. The only receiver you can keep on that team right now is Keenan Allen. Yeah, and I didn't do any with tight ends, but of course, so I had my buddy Henry, no points week 1, 12 points or something week 2.
We should just
no points week 3.
Just cut out like 30 seconds. Just to focus on Henry and what he's done.
Christ, man.
This is supposed to be the future, the star of he's going to take over Gronk's place and
you know
Kelsey.
I'm starting him again this week. I'm giving him one more week, man.
Just one more?
That's it.
Okay.
And then I'll pick up. There's a bunch of the thing about tight ends is you can find somebody to at least make.
You can get Jared Cook.
You can get lucky with somebody. All right. So now we got some waiver wire.
So who are you picking up?
So it's a little bit shorter this week.
Because there's not a lot of trends going on.
You kind of get to a point where the best plays are going to be the best guys are going to be on teams. You know, it's not like people are going to just come out of the woods in week 3 and 4 and be good unless there's big injuries. You always got to watch for injuries.
Yeah, there wasn't a lot of injuries on this one. So
quarterback for this week, a good pickup if you're streaming quarterbacks is Jay Cutler. I know he plays for the Dolphins, and
they do that.
They maybe. But they are playing the Saints, so I just feel like he's a good one week guy. If you're really, really desperate, there's always a Blake Bortles who just had a great game, but I think that was a one time,
that's not
one and done.
Again.
And then I think a great guy to pick up for the season long, especially if you're getting rid of Cam, is a guy like Tyrod Taylor.
You think so?
He's just a solid guy, man. He's not going to screw you like
he's like Cam.
If I would have had Tyrod Taylor instead of Derek Carr, I know I'm going to get 12 points out of him. You know what I mean? He's probably never going to have those. He's never going to have those 36 point or like I lost because Russell Wilson had 54 points, something idiotic like that. He's never going to do that. But he's just solid, man. He's legit. He's a lot like Cam used to be. He runs. He's going to get 50 yards rushing too.
So would you draft him? You're like, no.
I would drop Newton for Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah. That's a good play.
I think that's a pretty good play. Running backs, the biggest one by far is Smallwood. We both had him written down.
Yeah, but I'm
hesitant.
Yeah, I still wouldn't want to pick him.
No, I mean,
I don't want to pick any running from Eagles.
No,
because I don't think it's really ever been good.
No,
like that I can remember.
Now he'll probably catch the ball, kind of like Sproles did, but still, it's like
I'm not going to go for it.
LeGarrette Blount's going to be there, but he sucks.
I was just telling you the trend.
Sure, yeah.
I'm not saying what I would do because that's
the other one to pick up is, which a lot of leagues he's still available, is Dante Foreman. He's not in our league, obviously, but he's available in a lot of leagues.
He was drafted
in our
league,
which
was weird.
Receivers, there aren't really a lot of receivers that I like to pick up right now. I wrote down Funchess mainly just because they don't have anybody else to throw to.
Because
Benjamin's going to be out. Their tight end's out. They got to throw it to somebody. And then I put Shepard/Marshall. I think the Giants' offense has kind of come around, especially Eli's going to be decent.
I think I like Shepard over Marshall.
I liked Marshall's targets. He got a lot of targets, which is always kind of an indicator of who the quarterback likes. I think Shepard has the higher ceiling, meaning he could have a game where he just goes off.
Like he did,
yeah. I think he was right. He was like a top 8 fantasy wide receiver this week.
He's fast. He is. He's like a combo of Brandon Marshall because he's like
a little bit bigger.
Yeah, he's like a little bit looks like stronger, and then like a combo of those two like mixed into one, and he's younger. You know what I mean?
He's definitely decent. Tight end, you always can get Ben Watson. I think he's decent. They don't really have anybody else to throw it to.
Jeremy Maclin, remember? Just kidding.
Charles Clay. I'm telling you, every week I talk about Charles Clay. I'll keep talking about him. That's why I really should be starting instead of Hunter Henry. Is Charles Clay because he's
didn't
decent.
You pick him?
And then I dropped him. I picked him up and dropped him the same week.
And you didn't even play him?
No, never once played. I don't even think I had him on my roster for more than 24 hours. And then I think a really good one right now, especially if Jordan Reed doesn't play, is Vernon Davis. He's still good, and Kirk Cousins likes him. He's still a good guy to go to.
He run that little sexy little route, that little dig route.
Yeah.
And
he catches the ball.
Good.
Yeah, he can catch the ball, man. He's always been able to catch it.
That's when you remember, like, oh yeah, Kirk Cousins is pretty damn good. Like, sometimes you forget, and then he throw passes like that, against like a good team,
pretty good team, yeah.
You know, so I mean, and on prime time like television. So
and then you had a couple defenses you thought we should go with.
Yeah, a lot of defenses that aren't owned by teams.
Sure,
like this is a streaming team for sure. Jacksonville.
I picked them up.
Did you?
Yeah, and I actually will play them until they have a bad game, even with a bad matchup, because I think they're legit.
You think so?
I think their defense.
Well, I mean, because they're always supposed to be legit.
They're always supposed to be good, and I think they've actually
the last 3 years.
They probably have. I bet all 11 of their startars are like top 3 round picks. Because all they've ever had is top picks,
they're all like
you know?
23, 24
exactly.
years
So I think they're good. That was definitely my top. That was the only streaming defense I
mean, I would get them, stream them because you're playing against the Jets.
Yeah, that was the other benefit of it.
That's 2 benefits right there. And then Cincinnati at Cleveland. No one's really going to have Cincinnati.
No.
I looked it up, and like the percentage owned is pretty low,
real low. And I mean, Cleveland's not awful. Like, as in, they're going to just turn the ball over a lot, but Kaiser likes to throw it.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You still have a rookie quarterback who's the only exception. I won't even talk about the Cowboys anymore. Anyway, let's go.
All right, man. I got some who versus who.
Oh yeah,
I'm going to give you a couple.
This is a fun game.
This is the funnest part, I think, too.
I have
Did you make some? I'm just going to give them to you today.
No, yeah, you give them to me.
I'm giving them to you.
Yeah.
I think I made some pretty good ones.
Okay.
I actually thought these out.
Well, then I'm going to have to ask for your advice.
Okay. So my first quarterback choice is, and I even have who they're playing against too to help you with that.
Okay, good. Oh, and then I can look up their stats, their history. I'm just kidding.
So we have Alex Smith against Washington.
Okay.
Or Derek Carr against Denver.
Man. Derek Carr? Well, let's see.
I like this one because I might pick up Alex Smith and start him over Derek Carr. Depending.
Are you serious?
I might have to, man.
I mean, because you would think that Derek Carr would bounce back.
That's my hope.
Right? I mean, he was an MVP candidate last season.
Until he got hurt, yep.
Going in and had Super Bowl aspirations. Had Super Bowl aspirations again this season. And then they throw up that BS this past weekend.
Scary.
Yeah,
as a fantasy owner, it's scary.
Yeah, and then you're going into
Denver.
mile high, playing against that tough no-fly zone, which I thought was BS, but then until I actually saw it.
Exactly right. Same thing for me.
I'm like, Aqib Talib, I mean, he's an older guy. Like, I can't just... But no, I ate my words big time. Those guys are pretty stout. I mean, I have Alex Smith, who... He only turned out to be a stud, really, in like the first game. These last 2-3 games,
decent. He's average.
He's average. He's like putting up Tyrod Taylor numbers, but he's playing against Washington, who surprisingly Derek Carr couldn't even throw against. I know.
Either. That's why I really like this one. It's like
and they're playing, but they're playing at KC.
They're playing at KC.
Yeah.
Yeah, I put at. I meant against.
Yeah, okay. Yeah.
Against Washington.
I'm going to have to go with Smith on this one.
I know, right? I think that's the better play.
I think Carr's going to throw up another dud. I think he might crap the bed again.
Well, I'm looking forward to that.
I'm hoping he doesn't. You know, I'm a Carr fan, big time. But coming off a bad matchup that you were kind of almost supposed to win. You know, you were slated to win that game, and then you didn't. You know what I mean? Like, and you lost in a very embarrassing way on a Sunday night game. You know, I mean, for everybody to see, it wasn't just like some nooner game. And then he's gonna go back up again. Yeah, I can't.
Seriously, I picked up.
That's too many negatives for me to pick up on Carr. So I picked up Smith.
I picked up Simeon earlier in the week, which I was gonna maybe start because they're playing Oakland, and Oakland obviously isn't very good.
Everybody
defense.
can throw against them.
And then I dropped Simeon and picked up Andrew Luck, thinking I'm just going to stick with Carr until Andrew Luck comes back. And now I might drop Carr or drop Luck.
Why don't you drop Jacksonville defense
and not start a defense?
So and then pick up Clay again. Drop Clay, just like pick up. And
this is where I have to be true to what I just said, and I don't get attached to my players, and I have to just make the smart play.
You seem like you're getting attached to
Derek Carr.
Yeah,
it's my quarterback. That's always for quarterback for me, man.
No, I'm not saying you don't throw him to the wolves.
No,
You just sit him, bench him for a little bit.
Yeah,
let
I get mad.
Let him stew. Let him stew in what he's.
All right, I got another good one for you, man. We got Mariota.
Okay.
At Houston, or Jameis Winston at the Giants. 2 second-year players.
Oh my gosh! At Giants, right?
Mm-hmm.
Man, that's.
And so I'll let you think about this while I kind of talk for a second. So on some of these, I picked both of these quarterback situations. I picked ones that teams could actually have. Somebody could actually have drafted Winston and then Mariota, or back to back pretty easily. Same with Alex Smith and Derek Carr. You could pick up Alex Smith if you want him.
And this can also go good too with your DraftKings if you're trying to.
But that's really what this is really. I'm going to actually start gearing this more to DraftKings, because it's like, who would you start, Kareem Hunt or Le'Veon Bell? Well, if you have both of those in your fantasy team, you're going to play both. But in DraftKings, you got to be smart and say you can't really get both of them, because then you're not going to have
spend $9,000 on
and then
$18,000 on 2 running backs.
Exactly. So today I kind of still leaning towards the year-long teams, but next week when we do it, I'm going to lean more towards DraftKings.
Starting hitting the hardcore stuff. Yeah, we're starting getting the whiskeys.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, the whiskeys of fantasy football. I love it.
And then tequila.
Yeah. And that's where you just pick the whole passing league.
That's right.
Just the passing of whatever passing.
Running backs. Exactly. All right, who you got, man?
Just thinking about it, I have Winston as a starting quarterback on the league, on my Sons of Madden league. But I'm always hesitant to play him. I didn't even want to draft him.
I know.
Remember before I even drafted him,
I drafted him the next day.
And I told you, and I was like, dude, I don't want to draft him. And you're like, you did your thing. He's supposed to be a top 10 QB. I'm like, oh, man, but I really don't want to draft him. I'm going to draft Cam Newton. But then he said Jameis Winston. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it's worked out a little bit better.
Yeah, it worked out
a little bit.
But Mariota, he scares me too, man. Like
yeah.
And then going up against Houston, playing at Houston,
mm-hmm. Exactly.
And they almost beat the Patriots, the fucking Super Bowl team. I don't know, man. I think they're gonna ride that high. I'm gonna go with Winston.
So the reason the reason I chose Winston is because, so the Giants, what's the name of their cornerback, that their lockdown corner, the one that guarded Dez and just Jenkins, right? Jenkins, yeah.
Number 21.
And so he's a complete lockdown stud, right? So there's a good chance Mike Evans does nothing. He's a good guy to kind of fade this week.
Deshaun
Jackson, man. He's going to tear him up.
Well, that's who I was going to put on this who versus who.
For Jackson.
Deshaun Jackson, or because I know he's no longer in that division anymore. In the NFC East.
Yeah, it seems like he is, though.
He still is. But he always has beast of
against
games
those teams. You're right.
The Giants, against
the Cowboys,
against the Eagles, Cowboys, even against the Redskins when he was playing with the Eagles.
Mm-hmm.
So he can light up this entire division.
I think he has a really big game this week.
He's going to tear it up. And if someone has Deshaun Jackson, I'm starting Deshaun Jackson.
Me too. I think these are going to be a really good start this week
for sure.
Some running back ones.
But yeah, I'm going with Winston.
We got McCaffrey against New England.
That's my boy.
And Mr. Mixon against Cleveland.
Oh, man.
And you could tell I didn't do much work at work today.
Yeah,
I really did. I made such good ones.
I love that. Yeah, these are good. These are good right here. But okay, so is Mixon playing at Cleveland? You said
that's good. Here, let me look it up because I just.
You know what?
You got it in front of you.
I have it right here.
Good.
Yes, they're playing at Cleveland.
At Cleveland.
It's the noon game. Man. I mean, that's the what is it called? The dog pound. Is that what it's called there?
The Cleveland?
Yeah.
They have a name
or
for
the
it?
Shithole?
I think that's what it's called. The shithole works way better.
The toilet bowl. The toilet bowl. That's what it... Okay. But McCaffrey, I don't know, man. I think I'm going to have to go... I know Mixon is... he's a stud. But they just got that new offense coordinator. I think they're going to keep trying to feed... what's his name? McCaffrey. I mean, not McCaffrey. AJ Green, the ball.
Yeah.
You know what? But now I'm kind of talking myself off of it because if they might be playing with the lead, and so what are they going to do
against Cleveland? That's true.
What do? You just run the ball after that,
and you know that the Panthers are going to have a hard time getting a lead against the Patriots. So.
Exactly, but who else do you have to throw to?
Then you go with McCaffrey.
Man,
that's tough. I'm telling you, this was the hardest one that I looked at. I'm like, dang, I don't know.
Let's come back to that one.
Okay. Next, I had Derrick Henry at Houston. Or Duke Johnson against Cincinnati.
You know what? I know the last couple weeks or 3 weeks, what's his name, has been looking a little shaky, running with
DeMarco?
DeMarco Murray has been running with rocks in his shoes. Yeah. That's just what he looks like. Have you ever seen the show How to Get Away with Murder?
No, I haven't.
No?
I watch all the other Sandra Rhimes shows, but
okay, but not that one.
Not that one. All the rest.
But there's this lady on the main character, the lawyer girl. The way she walks in high heels is just like she's like walking like Frankenstein. Like she just walks weird and just walks hard. And that's why I think DeMarco Murray runs like now. I think he's on his way out.
I think he needs some Dr. Scholl's.
Probably.
Yeah. He's flat-footed.
Yeah. He has balloon feet.
I might email them that.
He has water balloon feet. But no, I'm gonna go with Henry.
Yeah, Henry.
I can't go with any other running back that is not named Isaiah Crowell. That is on the Cleveland Browns.
The reason I did that one was because Duke Johnson had a good game this past week. But yeah, I would go Henry too. That one I thought was a little bit easier. Here is one that I think is very interesting because if you went based on draft position, it's super easy. But we have Amari Cooper at Denver and Thielen against Detroit.
Yeah. I already know who I'm going for.
I know who you were going for too. But it's just so funny. You were going with, what did Thielen get drafted in? Like the 8th round maybe? 9th round?
I picked him up in the 8th round?
Probably right around there, right? Yeah, that sounds right. And Amari Cooper was a first round pick?
No, it was 2nd round. You got him in the...
No, I have Michael Crabtree.
Oh, yeah. No,
Amari Cooper was into the first round, like maybe right before Jordy. Or was he after Jordy?
Yeah.
So he was a 2nd round draft pick, right? Isn't that crazy?
He's a 2nd round.
And who would you go with?
I'm going Thielen.
Yeah.
Just because I feel confident now.
I agree. I agree.
Before, I always felt confident with Sam Bradford going to Thielen, and then Teddy Bridgewater going to Thielen or whatever, or if that was ever going to happen. But then now with Case Keenum, the Houston guy, and coming out of the woodworks, I'm Thielen all day.
Yeah. Thielen or die. And then my last one I had was I tried to find 2 of the kind of better receivers, and I got Mr. Jordy Nelson against Chicago or Michael Thomas against Miami.
Nelson they're playing at Lambeau. And then he said Michael Thomas.
Yeah.
Against Miami. I don't know.
This was a tough one. At first, when I wrote it down, I'm like, this is going to be too easy.
You want to say Nelson.
You want, right? I honestly think,
but
though...
he's kind of scaring me, though.
Nelson scares me because...
I'm an owner of Jordy Nelson, but he's only relying on 1 catch, 2 catches for
every game,
a touchdown.
Yeah. And I don't have Michael Thomas in either league, but he is a stud. And what scares me about Jordy Nelson is go to everybody on that team. I mean, it could be Adams could just go off.
You know what? I'm gonna go. I already made my decision. I'm gonna go with Michael Thomas, and that's only because Willie Snead's coming back.
I was gonna say the same thing exactly.
Willie Snead's coming back to take some of that pressure, and Kobe Fleener is already.
And then now Ted Ginn can be a legit slot receiver,
Ted Ginn's going to be there, and he's quick as hell.
Yeah.
So,
or a legit downfield threat instead of doing everything.
I'm going Michael.
That one was interesting. I think I would end up playing Jordy Nelson, but that's just a.
Well, really, I'm going to play him. But
just a pure.
But if I had a choice between them, if I'm going to the DraftKings and I'm like, man,
which of those two? Yeah,
Michael Thomas.
And if they're similar price,
they're about the same price, but Thomas probably a little bit less expensive just because he's not a big name like Nelson. But and then I'm going to go just with McCaffrey.
One back with McCaffrey. Yeah, I circle McCaffrey too. I have Mixon, so obviously that's who I'll end up be playing in leagues. I have him in 2 leagues, but if I were able to trade for the week, I think I would take McCaffrey. I would use him. Same thing. If for DraftKings, I'd probably play McCaffrey.
I would pick McCaffrey. Hang on, let me take a break with that.
What?
Okay.
Are we gonna do the DraftKings stuff?
Do you have time? I mean, do I?
It's up to you, man. You tell me.
Okay, so just do like a quick.
Yeah. So I haven't made any lines for DraftKings this year, and unfortunately in Texas all we can play is DraftKings, and I think we can play one of the new draft ones, Play Draft or something. It's legal here, where it's like a snake draft every week, which is kind of cool. So you can get 3 of the top players. You don't have to worry about salary. But we have DraftKings. So when you're making a lineup, you're either going to play cash or you're going to play tournaments. And cash means it's like a 50-50 or it's either a 50-50 or something else similar to that, where it's like half the people you double ups is what it's called. Okay. 50-50s are double ups, where you get twice as much money as you win. Half the field wins money, the other half doesn't. Right?
They just lose their buy-in.
Now the tournaments, it's usually like top 18% make money, but it's only like the top 1% that really like win something.
Like me, I won 50 cents.
Yeah, exactly. You win your buy-in, you get your buy-in back. Like, so if you do like a $5 tournament and you finish, there'll be 6,000 people. Well, if you finish in the top, like 1,000, you might get your money back. But you'd have to finish in the top 100 out of the 6,000 to win, $50. And then at the very top, you're going to win like $6,000. You're going to the first place top 2.
Does the first place? Do they ever win that full amount or no?
Oh yeah, they're like, so first place, and I mean they're all different size tournaments. It depends on how many people there are and stuff. But I mean, I'll play in tournaments for baseball and basketball that I played $5 for, and if I won, I'd win $8,000. And there's even some where I've played where there's 33,000 people and I'd win $50,000 if I got first place. But there's also 33,000 people, to beat. But there's a big difference in how you build your lineup based on cash and tournaments. Tournaments, you really got to go for upside. You can't play the chalk. So what the chalk is, it's the people that everybody's talking about. So like if Stephon Diggs got hurt and Sam Bradford's coming back, one of the best plays of the week would be Thielen, right? Thielen would be like, everybody would want to play Thielen. Well, in a tournament, you don't want that. You want, because if you get a guy that's owned by half the teams, 50% owned, well, even if he does well, all it's doing is keeping everybody else with you, right?
Oh yeah.
But what you want to do is not have that guy and hope he does bad. Because if he does bad, that's 50% of the teams that have somebody get knocked off. And so when you're in the tournaments, you can't play a team that's really chalky, and that's the term for it. I didn't know what it meant.
That's the lingo.
Yeah, it's lingo. And so you would pick, you'd pick now if Thielen's the number 1 pick, you might try to find their third receiver and play their third receiver, and maybe he goes and scores 2 touchdowns, and he'll be 2% owned, and that's what you really got to look for in tournaments is those high upside players,
the sleeper guys,
which I think for me is a whole lot harder. Cash, obviously you're not going to win as much, but Mario, our buddy that plays, he bets like $500 a week, $300 to $500 a week, and 80% of it's in cash games, where for the most part he's going to be really close to doubling up. You know what I mean? Like he's going to make it, and so on those you really build it. You build it on guys that are going to be high volume guys. So even like Carlos Hyde would be a great cash player because he's going to get the ball 35 times a game. So for cash plays, you really want to look. So in a game where, like, if last week when DeMarco Murray got hurt or was supposed to get hurt, and wasn't supposed to play that much this week, Derrick Henry was super high owned because he was a little bit lower priced and he's supposed to get the bulk of the workload.
Which
and
didn't really happen.
Once it didn't end up working out. So the chalk didn't hit. This past week was one of the weeks where the chalk definitely didn't hit because guys that were in amazing matchups like Cam shit the bed and just screwed people over. So that's when they say the chalk doesn't hit. That's when, like... Yeah,
I had Cam in everything that I was doing that I talked about on the podcast, I did it myself. Like, I'm not just saying it and then, like, not doing it. Like, I actually picked... I dropped him.
You picked up Cam and you played him.
I picked up Cam and I played him. I even played in the DraftKings. I played Cam in that. I still did it, and... Honestly, I didn't win.
And so it really is a big difference in the types of lineups you make. And it's cool. It's fun to do, man. Like, it's a whole science. I mean, it's amazing. It's the people that really, really, really,
You think next week
look into it.
We'll cut out a larger segment?
Yeah, so next week we can actually get into some plays, some good plays, some bad plays, like some sleepers type thing. And that's the type of... In DraftKings, you really have sleepers. You know what I mean? Like guys that not many people are going to play, but could have a 2 touchdown upside and stuff like that. So, yeah, it's a whole other thing, but it's awesome. I mean, we could seriously have a whole podcast just about like daily fantasy or the weekly fantasy for football. But let's get into our pick'em.
All right, what do you we're on pick'ems.
Let's do it.
You ready? Okay. Last week, let's just go over last week. I know when I talked to you earlier, I asked how we did the scoring system. I think I was doing it incorrect.
Yeah, so
you say it.
So in a regular pick'em like on Yahoo, there's 15 games, you pick them all, and you only get the points positive for the games you picked. So the worst score you're going to get is a 0.
Yeah.
Last week you got a -7, but you're doing it so where you minus points for the ones you get wrong, and which I actually kind of like because you should be getting the higher points right.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're getting a negative score, it's because you might have gotten some of the lower games right, but you got the higher games wrong.
See, because it actually is a bigger difference because I got positive 7 points
this week.
Yeah, versus your positive 1 point
from this week or last week.
From this week.
Oh, this week I had positive 1. Positive twice.
But yes. Yeah, you got 2. You got one twice in a row. But if we did it to where you just got the points just based on whatever, just on the win, like if you lost it, you didn't get any points. You would have had 8 points.
Yeah. What would you have finished with this week?
I would have finished with 11.
So only 3 points different. Yeah, I see. I do. We'll keep doing it that way, and it's different, man. We're making ourselves a little bit different.
Just trying to do it a little differently.
It's fun.
So, but yeah, okay. So again, we're doing the Thursday night games, Cowboys and Texans games, a Sunday night football, a Monday night football, and a random game, and then a random game that I think is just juicy.
And we're kicking out a game this week. We're getting rid of it.
I kind of want to.
I think we should.
Okay.
My thing is, so what I heard on some podcasts is that I think starting week 6, NBC or CBS or whoever has the Sunday Night Football, NBC, I think they're able to start flexing games into that spot. And I don't know how soon in advance you have to do it. I'm sure it can't be the day before or anything because you got to prepare.
No, it has to be at least the week before.
A week before, right? And so soon enough, we're not going to have to worry about these crappy games.
Well, what else? Yeah, and that's what brings us to this is that the Sunday night game coming up this Sunday is Indianapolis at Seattle. And, I mean, maybe if Andrew Luck was healthy.
And Baldwin does not play for sure. And nobody in Seattle shows up.
Yeah, it would be a good game, I guess. I don't know. But I don't like
it. And so we replaced it with
Oakland at
Denver. Yeah, much more fun. Much more fun.
I think that's a
Me too.
damn good game. And now I'm gonna have to switch up all my points again because I forgot we were gonna switch them. I was just. Oh, there we go. Anyway. Okay, so
we good?
Yes.
All right. So first game we got Chicago at Green Bay. You can start off.
Oh, this is my crazy stats I did for this game.
Yeah,
What I was going to do? I was just going to say, just go right into it and just be like, this is what I'm picking, and that's it. But I forgot I had this little side note. The Chicago and Green Bay is it's matchups that they've had 194 games total. Okay, these two teams. Believe it or not, they are split. They each won 94 times, and they've tied 6 times, or is it? Yeah, 6 times.
Wow.
So they are right down the middle. So this game,
that's crazy.
Green Bay does, however, lead the home field advantage, 46 and 42. So I mean that's kind of favorable, but in the last 8 games, the last 8 meetings between these two teams, Green Bay has won 6 of them.
Yeah.
But surprisingly, the last time they lost, Green Bay lost against Chicago. It was at Green Bay, and Chicago won in a thriller. So I know the easy thing to do is just to go Green Bay, right? Just because it's Green Bay.
Yeah.
But did you see Chicago play?
Yeah, man.
Last week, and then even the week before, they lost by a fumble or a touch.
Yeah.
They lost very last second again. With all that said, don't be looking at my notes.
I was trying to see what number you had.
I'm going to go that the tiebreaker is going to go to Green Bay, and I'm going to go with 4 points. I'm confident in 4 points that Green Bay will take that.
So I'm just going to go with Green Bay.
So what'd you think of my little notes?
That's pretty cool, man. That's amazing that they play that many games and they're split.
They're split right
so it's
now.
almost like, I mean, if you're doing it as a mathematical person, you would think, which I am, is Green Bay's 8-2 in the last 10, is that what you said? Or 6-2 in the last 8?
Last 2. So,
I mean, you would think it should come back towards Chicago winning a couple to get back to, recently 50-50. I'm actually just going off of, and again, I thought, Chicago looks good. I just feel like Chicago's going to come off that big win at home against Pittsburgh, and they're going to go on the road to Green Bay, and Green Bay is just going to wallop them.
You think
you like that word? Wallop?
Wallop.
Yeah.
I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be closer than a wallop.
I'm just hoping they win by at least 1 point.
I think it's a smidge.
I'm putting 5 on Green Bay.
Are you putting 5?
Yeah.
Man. Okay.
That's who's they're winning with 5. I like to lose my points right away.
Right. Just get it through. Right.
Just like last week, I lost Thursday night. I lost 4 points.
Well, no, you lost 2, but you were down.
Oh, that's right.
But you were down 4 points because I picked.
You went 2 the other way.
Yeah,
that's right.
I went 2.
I knew I was
Rams.
off 4.
Yeah.
All right. I'll start with the next one. Are we gonna let's save Dallas for last?
Okay.
I like keeping the Dallas game for last, and you can't look at my Dallas stats.
Okay. The next game would be then Tennessee at Houston.
So I like this game. I really like when I was looking at it. I really want to take Tennessee because I think Tennessee is an overall better built team. I think their offense is good, and I think their defense is solid. But you watch Watson against New England, and it's like
then New England kind of
their defense isn't great, but it was just his presence and his. You know what it reminds me of? I feel like the Texans finally corrected their mistake of not drafting Vince Young and have now drafted a current version of Vince Young.
Oh yeah.
I feel like he just has that winning factor that Vince Young did too, and so. I think Houston, with their defense, obviously is always strong. I think they play better at home, and I think Watson's going to really build off the crowd. So I'm actually picking Houston, but I'm only giving it 1 point.
That's not very confident, man.
Not at all.
I'm going to go the other way. I'm going to go Tennessee for all those reasons that you just said. But I'm going to go 3 points.
On Tennessee.
Three confidence points. Just because, I mean...
I actually had 2 written above Tennessee, and then I had scratched it out the first time.
Come on. But no, they have a run game. You know, Tennessee does, which is gonna be. I want to see that run game versus that defense right there, because that's pretty stout defense. But no, I think Mariota is gonna have pretty decent
I hope
game.
so. I hope Mariota breaks out.
The next game, which we're replacing, this takes the place of a Sunday Night Football game. Oakland at Denver.
So this is my tilt betting. So I'm still tilting off of Derek Carr losing the week for me, and them going from that to playing in the high altitude at Denver, going on the road. Denver's defense looks great so far. The way they destroyed Dallas, who then looked great this week. So I don't know if it was just Dallas had a bad week or Denver's defense is actually that good. I hope Oakland bounces back because I probably will end up at the end of the day playing Derek Carr. But I'm gonna have to go with Denver at home and give it 2 points.
I'm actually doing 2 points as well for Denver.
Denver.
Yeah, just because that was a scary place.
Watching that Dallas-Denver game has made me respect Denver's defense so much more. Because then you see Dallas. Because at first I'm thinking like, all right, maybe Dallas just doesn't have it together. But then against Arizona's decent defense, Dallas looked great.
Yeah,
not as good as they could have.
The first quarter.
Yeah, but
then you also have to remember.
it.
You have to remember it's a long game.
It is.
And then I thought that since the Cowboys went because there was the lightning storm, and so they got a little breather. They got to hang out, got to look at what just happened this past 13 minutes or 10 minutes, whatever the hell what it was. But no, they still got manhandled.
I know.
So that's
Denver is legit, man.
I'm going 2 points Denver also.
All right, you're up on this one. Washington at KC, which is our Monday Night Football.
Did you know that they brought that dude back?
Yeah.
But I thought he was racist.
Well,
did he say racist comments?
Certain things are allowed these days. We won't get into that. That's a whole nother podcast.
I know, but I saw him and I was like, whoa, how's he playing the Monday Night Football song again?
Yeah, and then Mr. Duke, I think he does the coin flip in the middle field. Yeah.
Well, what is that all about?
I don't know, man. I don't know.
That just weirded me out.
Yeah.
Anyway,
I thought it was pretty fun. We can do a whole podcast on that.
And it had to be on this weekend. You know
exactly
what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
Like how was it coincidental?
We're bringing them back. We're bringing them back this week.
Yeah, but just for this week specifically. Anyway, Washington at KC. I don't know, man. I like KC. I'm hoping. Kareem Hunt is just
a stud, man.
Is a stud. I like Tyreek Hill, and then I did pick Alex Smith. Yeah. So I can't not go against that. So I'm going KC, but I only have 1 point available. So I'm going.
Because you have something better for Dallas. So
shut your mouth.
You said you only have 1 point available. Yeah. That's incorrect. I'm actually pretty much. You actually just said exactly what I said. I put Hunt and Hill are way too fast. I think Washington's defense is pretty decent, but I don't think they're good against that speed. I think that speed's going to get to them.
That's another.
And I actually put with the question mark here for Kansas City. Is it the best team in football right now?
I won't say no.
You know, you could really argue they're the best team in football right now. So because of that,
because they beat the best team.
They beat the best team. They're playing great. Their offense is actually looking explosive instead of the normal Alex Smith dunk.
Throws touchdowns now to wide receivers.
Yeah. So it's a miracle. So I got KC, and I'm giving it 3 points.
3 points, but they could have been that Super Bowl team of like poor Eric Berry, man.
Yeah. Man, have we picked all the same so far?
Yeah.
No, wait. You picked.
Oh no, Tennessee and Houston.
Tennessee's the only difference. Oh, and so then we saved it. You can go ahead and start. We know how this goes. The Rams at Dallas.
Oh, and you picked 2 points. Okay. Wow, you're going that confident, or maybe you're not confident. Anyway, you know what? The Rams look good.
They do.
They did pretty good against San Francisco, which their defense is pretty decent. They're not a bad defense. Definitely, I was surprised that they got up to 40 points against that kind of defense. But Todd Gurley, man, I don't know how Cowboys are going to do. Have they dealt with a running back of that stature?
They dealt with C.J. Anderson, but he's a speed back. Todd Gurley's going to run into some people, run some people over.
Well,
Especially if
C.J. Anderson looks like
he's bigger. He's bigger. Yeah,
he looks like a Jerome Bettis.
he is bigger though now, right? Isn't it weird?
He got like big, like Eddie Lacy big.
Yeah, I think Todd Gurley's going to have a very big game.
I think I'm usually they go for like shootouts,
Yeah,
but I'm looking for feet to the ground,
ugly game like a.
Well, no, not even that. Like I want them to be big run breaks. Elliott versus Gurley.
Yeah.
I that's what I'm hoping for, and I want to see Cooper Kupp do something. Just because I was high on him at the beginning of everything, and but you know what? Like I said, I'm going to pick Cowboys. Generally, I don't want to. I try to like leave my heart out of it, but I'm going to pick the Cowboys this time. But like I said, it just depends on how many points. But at this point, I'm going to go 5 confidence points on the Cowboys.
5 on the Cowboys
because they're playing at home. They just had that statement game. They got their ass kicked at Denver. And
bouncing back from
yeah, and then came back from that. And then now I think they're kind of on the right track. And then they're going to get pumped up to go play Green Bay. I mean, for Green Bay to come play them. So I think they're going to take this game. They have to. Because if they lose a game like this against Rams, not saying that they're not great, but if they lose a game like this, it's only going to get harder. So
sure.
They're going to have to dig themselves out. But yeah, I'm going Dallas.
So Gurley's going to have a good game. They got Sammy Watkins and they got Cooper Kupp, which are 2 very good receivers. Dallas has a very young secondary, although they've played great so far. I've been impressed. They've done really, really well.
That Jordan Lewis guy.
Goff is way better than he was last year. It's not even close.
Yeah, I think because now he
actually knows how to throw.
Well, I mean, I don't know.
I think they just simplified things for him.
Probably.
And I think the fact that they're actually getting some stuff out of Gurley, it makes it easier for Goff as well. But with that being said, Dallas is not going to lose at home to the Rams. Dallas is going to win. I think it'll end up being a pretty good game. But if Zeke does what he normally does, and Prescott just doesn't make mistakes, he was the perfect quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys to get. He doesn't like to make mistakes, Most of the time, his interceptions come off of somebody else's mistake. A route run wrong, a ball tip, things like that.
Complete opposite of Romo.
Exactly, yeah. Romo was so aggressive.
He was
wanted to
Brett
go
Favre style. That's what it was.
And with the way Dak is super, very fast, but he doesn't ever cross the line of scrimmage until he has to. So he'll run out on the flats and waits, just like the big touchdown to Bryce Butler. He waits, and then if he can't...
And to throw it on the run like that?
Dude, it was nice.
That's an arm and accuracy.
So I was going to act like I was going to pick the Rams just so we're off again, but I have 4 on the Cowboys. I have 4 on the Cowboys.
Maybe you should. We need an upset.
But really, my theme of this whole thing was...
all home teams?
5 home teams. That... I feel like with the parity in the NFL right now, home field advantage is so important. I really do.
The only time the spoiler I have is just the Tennessee.
That's it, yeah. And it's not. I mean, and again, it's not even. It won't even be much of a. I wouldn't be surprised if Tennessee's favored in that game. I bet they're close. This was the first week I didn't write down the spread.
I didn't even, I was going to look at the spread, but
I didn't this week.
I was kind of just going based off of the knowledge that we have and the week or whatever. All right, on to garbage time. We got just a couple minutes.
Yeah.
My garbage time, what I was telling you whenever we were texting back and forth on last Thursday night's game, I had texted you and said, well, like San Francisco's down, Brian Hoyer's at quarterback, and I texted you and said, well, Brian Hoyer's not no comeback kid, and you were like, no, that's definitely not. I heard the laugh in your voice in the text, but then after the game ended, like it came closer.
Yeah, he almost came back.
Yeah, and then what we were thinking was like, if someone else was that quarterback, they would have won that. Like he would have won this game for them, and that quarterback is Colin Kaepernick. He definitely would have won that game. Like that's what he was good at. Like those comebacks and the scrambling and making plays happen.
And he has Carlos Hyde now, who's actually a legit running back.
I think he might come back. I mean, he's going to get a job back, I think. I honestly think, because of all this shit that's happening, that they're going to try to make a statement and say, hey,
somebody's going to take him.
That this is not why I mean,
Yeah.
Really, it was.
It is why.
that was the reason why. But now that everybody's going like bashing the NFL and like bashing like it's bigger than that, they're going to be like, oh, you know what? It wasn't about that. It's about this.
Yeah.
It's about something bigger. So I really think that he's going to get picked up and he's going to do something this season that's going to win a game for a team.
Yeah,
that's my thing.
he's. So he definitely. I mean, it was the reason why he's a distraction. It's a distraction. You know, he's a competitive player, but he's it was a distraction to teams, and so if you were going to pick him up as a backup quarterback, why would you like? What's the point of that? Or a guy that's not going to ever play a down, you're going to have this distraction. You know, each week,
like everybody's waiting,
always talking about it. What's going to happen? What's going to happen? You're right though. With so many more teams doing it now, it kind of takes it off of him a little bit.
It's not surprising anymore.
But he is better than Blake Bortles. He is better than
Brian Hoyer.
Easily. And there's probably another two or three quarterbacks that he's probably better than as a starter.
Like, no, just coming off the couch right now.
Exactly. Yes. And so with a team like the 49ers where you have a good defense and you have a solid run game, it's like if you have a quarterback, you're a playoff team.
Especially in this division that's
so bad.
Kind of going downhill right now.
So, yeah, I could definitely see him coming in and doing...
But I think it has to be the 49ers.
Yeah. I was thinking 49ers. I also was thinking it would work in Jacksonville as well. I just thought that.
Or Arizona, because Carson Palmer.
With Carson Palmer, yeah. Especially if he were to get hurt. But it'll be interesting. Yeah, it'll be interesting. If it's going to happen, it needs to happen sooner. Sooner than later.
But like I said, he definitely would have won that game. For sure.
Yeah.
But,
the cap.
The cap.
The cap.
All right, man. Well, good luck to everybody week 4. Look forward to seeing you week 5. Maybe we'll do a little bit more in-depth stuff about the
get into some more DraftKings daily fantasy.
Trying to think of some strategies. My boy Matt here, he's got a bunch of them. We have friends that know all this good stuff, so stay tuned and you'll get the goods as well. Bye.